Hello and welcome. This is the Market Wrap. I am Agam Vakil. What we've seen in the markets is further advances for the benchmark indices. And in fact, the Nifty taking one more step closer to the 11,000 mark, up 0.5%. India Bourse Housing Finance, Bajaj Finserv, Axis Bank, State Bank of India, Bajaj Finance, all of them belonging to the financials, banking and non-banking, all advancing in trade, aiding the up move for the Nifty. Besides that, we have gains in Bharti Infratel and Asian Paints as well. On the losing end, not too much to speak for except for the IT stocks which are being really under pressure. So HCL Technologies, Infosys and TCS were bearing down on the indices to a certain extent. But taking a look at the broader markets, we have, well, nearly two gainers for one loser, and it's turned out to be a good day of trade when it comes to the indices and the constituents of the NSE 500. Navkar Corp advancing 20%. We have NBCC and J Corp also advancing in trade. Vijaya Bank, India Bourse Housing Finance, or rather Real Estate, Central Depository, as long as DLF, all advancing in trade. Reliance Communications, on the other hand, down 9.5%. We'll be talking about that in a little more detail. It's actually the case for a lot of the other ADAG companies as well. ICICI Lombard and Gujarat Narmada also stands out in trade, taking a little bit of a knock. But what do we make of these moves? Let's bring in our markets editor, Neeraj Shah, to make sense of this. Neeraj, what's the perspective here? How are you reading these cues?
Well, very interesting. I think it'll probably be everybody's individual calls out here. But yesterday we were talking about if IT and private banks don't fall, then we have a chance of staying put. We've stayed put despite the fact that IT has fallen. And save for Axis Bank, the private sector banking space hasn't quite looked all that robust today. So momentum in the other pockets, which is always very, very welcome. Today's session, Agam, the interesting bit was, I think, volumes picked up materially. More so in the last half an hour. We were at close to 30,000 crores on NSE cash at about 305. End of day, about 35,000 crores. It'll be interesting to see what the delivery volumes are and what kind of participation comes in from the FIs as well. Because we've been talking about how the foreign flows haven't been quite robust in that sense, the strictest of senses. But does today's move and the moves over the last few days and FIs coming in the bond markets, if they are indeed in the first place, also kind of be a catalyst for the equity markets too. So that is one thing. The currency was an interesting one. I don't know if there was some RBI participation. There was some chatter on social media about how Reserve Bank would have participated today and bought some dollars because of the strengthening of the rupee and good levels to buy in as well. Absolutely. So I don't know if that had happened or no, but interesting bit to monitor. But I think world over, I will be waiting for whether or not the commentary is a bit dovish today. I think a couple of commentators spoke about the possibility of a pause, which I don't know, very much doubt. You never know. I think those couple of factors notwithstanding, wait for tomorrow or wait for today. Let's see what comes in store from FOMC and then maybe chart our course for.
Well, the investors, of course, talking about the dovish hike from the Fed.
Dovish hike.
I wonder what that means, but we'll make sense of it. I'm sure we will have plenty of analysis going on there.
Tomorrow morning, Agam, straight set up.
Morning, that's right. Neeraj, thank you for that perspective. We'll move on and also talk about the technicals and all the analysts and the levels that they were watching out for. This is what they're saying. Listen it.
The way the overall formation is and the structure is playing out, I sense, this move will continue on the upside. One should continue to maintain a buy on dips approach. On the lower side, 10,800 for the Nifty would be the support areas. Since we have already rallied roughly around 400-500 points from the lows, I don't expect on the immediate basis this move to continue. So, going for a call options or any option strategy, and since the expiry is next week, I think it's recommended that one can look to buy Nifty futures instead, or even Bank Nifty futures. But on the upside, we maintain our targets of 11,200 and 11,400 for the Nifty.
10,800 has now become a support base for the rest of the series. So I believe that this momentum is likely to continue without any correction, at least for next few trading sessions. So any existing longs should be held on. Fresh longs, if anyone is looking to enter fresh, then I would suggest to go with a Bank Nifty rather than Nifty, because the index heavyweights such as ICICI Bank, they are even to an extent some other PSU banking names, SBI and other names are showing much clear direction. So I think there would be outperformance in the Bank Nifty index compared to Nifty going ahead. So if one has to take any fresh positions at current levels, one can go long in Bank Nifty, keeping a stop loss below 27,120 and expect targets around 27,700 to 800 in near term.
Right then, we're going to shift focus to some sectors and stocks, and I'm going to address the financial space in general. Let me start off with some of your PSU banking names, which surged in the last few minutes of trade. And by that I mean Allahabad Bank, Corporation Bank, Bank of Maharashtra, and Bank of India. All of them advancing in trade. And do remember, Bank of India has already been buzzing over the last couple of days. The reason behind this is, from what we understand, is an official has suggested that all these four banks will exit the prompt corrective action framework, and that's the reason why we have seen such a surge in these stocks. Save for some of these stocks in the public sector banking space as well, we also have a surge in NBFCs, and of course this is following the suggestion from the RBI that it is going to carry out open market operations and purchase bonds worth around $2 billion in December, and it also has plans in January, so another $7 billion worth of bonds could also be purchased in the month of January. This is in order to increase liquidity into the system, and that's perhaps the reason why we have seen that surge in a whole host of NBFCs as well as other financials. So we'll be watching out for that. With that, let me get in Sharad Dubey as usual, who's going to give us an update on a whole host of other stocks which are also buzzing in trade. Sharad.
Yes, Agam, three stocks I have picked up today. The first stock which was buzzing is Reliance Communication. Now, if you see, the stock went up by down by almost 9% today. This is the highest intraday fall since September 21, and it is also the worst performer of the BSE 500 index. This is based on the news that Economics Times had reported that Department of Telecommunication will not approve the trading of airwaves between the company and Reliance Jio. This is based on the news of non-confirmation of guidelines. The second stock I have picked up is Marico, which actually increased, and it increased and ended at around 4.6% up today. This is based on the Antique Broking's note that it maintains a buy rating with a target price of around 400 and 300 rupees. This is based on the starting of a deflationary cycle for its raw material copra. The copra prices have actually fallen by around 20% on a year-on-year basis, and apart from this, their EBITDA margin guidance will also expand by around 240 basis points in Q3. The third stock which I have picked up is Bata India. So the stock has ended the day around 2% up, and it already hit its 52-week high. This is based on the news that the company's CFO Ram Kumar Gupta told Bloomberg Quint that the company expects a revival in its revenue, especially in the festive season and the year-end sale. Apart from this, there will also be a premiumization of its products, which contribute around 35% to the total revenues. So Agam, these three stocks were buzzing in the mid-cap space.
Right, fair enough, Sharad. Thank you for bringing us those stocks as well, which will be and perhaps in focus tomorrow as well. So plenty to watch out for, but at this point in time, global cues take precedent, and we're going to keep an eye on what we have in terms of the FMC meet. But with that, it's a wrap on the markets, but lots more lineups, so stay tuned to Bloomberg.